Hello everybody, this is Juntas. Today we're going to talking about vanilla World of Warcraft and why you maybe shouldn't play it. So first of all, I'm gonna apologize quickly now for the length. I know this video is gonna be pretty long. I also know that this is a topic that has been talked about a lot already before. You know, a lot of people have voiced their opinions, so it's kind of like a dead topic, but I still want to do this one. Even though I actually also have a video kind of on the same topic from like a year ago or so when the vanilla World of Warcraft private server were first, announced that it would come. But I feel like now that the situation is right to kind of make a volume 2 of that video, also in a better context. Another thing is also you can kind of just have it running in the background. A lot of the edits is just gonna be light with some gameplay. I'm just gonna try find some odd little YouTube clips that everyone has probably seen already if you kind of know what World of Warcraft vanilla videos are like. I definitely watch my share of those, so I'll just kind of editing them over my own voice. So it's not really important that you look at the screen, you can just have it running in the background. Anywho, some context here. I'm a World of Warcraft vanilla player. I actually played vanilla, so I get that a lot of the players just take the best example I would think of as Gold, if you have to name drop his name already. 500 days played. I have 5 bosses up to Shouldent killed. I didn't kill Huron in AQ 40, but yeah, Spiderwing, and was it North the Plaguebringer and that dancing guy? Those were the bosses that I killed in Nax 40. I also had, I think it was, one piece of tier 3 gloves. I was a raider pretty much at the moment I hit a max level. And yeah, that's kind of like my vanilla experience. I did every single content in vanilla you can think about. I was farming resistance gear for Huron, that boss fight where you need resistance gear. I was doing the casual ones on the weekends for like weird gear. I was like part of the core of a raid team. I wasn't an officer or raid leader or anything like that. I was way too young back then. I was only like 14, 15 years old. But I basically did everything in vanilla. So you can take my words out from a hardcore person. Honestly, if I had to guess, I've probably clocked 70 to 100 days of played in vanilla. I think I started like half a year after it was released in Europe or whatever when that was, so it wasn't quite from the start. But anywho, yeah, I think you don't have to say much more than that. I was a big, huge fucking no-lifer in vanilla WoW, and that continued up to like Cataclysm, where I actually only took my first break from WoW. So yeah, I played a lot of that, and I think that also kind of makes my opinions a little more valuable as somebody who's maybe never even played vanilla, who's maybe not even like ever did a raid boss back then, did the grinds, whatever. So yeah, that's kind of the context of the video. So let's move on. I have 4 points in total. It's gonna be based around gameplay, time investment, kind of like how everything is spoiled already. You kind of know everything what's gonna happen, and then an outro, kind of like general thoughts, what I else think would maybe be a better time investment, what I think would be a better path for Blizzard to go. But yeah, that's pretty much all, so let's move on here. So one of the most critiqued things about the current expansion Battle for Azeroth, besides the ludicrous amounts of other things that are completely wrong with it, I am a hater of that expansion as much as the next guy. Honestly, I haven't been happy in World of Warcraft for probably, I don't know, 5-8 years. I guess that's the same case for many veterans. We kind of just keep playing because we like it, it's familiar, and that's not really an MMO that we want to invest our time into currently. I did try out Final Fantasy. Yeah, I actually think I'm gonna mention that now, so that was one of my bullet points. So, gameplay. Everyone is critiquing right now that even though 8.2, the patch that's gonna come soon as of this recording, is gonna change kind of how we can interact with game systems. That's gonna be new content, that's gonna be like shit to do, it's gonna be a little bit better. It's kind of like how the beta of Battle for Azeroth is over. Honestly, I still see the expansion as beta version, but at least 8.2 is now gonna release it to an actual game where there's actually shit to do, because honestly there was no content in Battle for Azeroth. I already started leveling an alt and doing horde stuff, even though I hate that sort of shit, and we are just early in the expansion because there's nothing to do. But gameplay. Everyone says that, yeah, even if Battle Reference had the greatest systems and the greatest blah 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 whatever, the gameplay is just what kills it. And when you look at vanilla World of Warcraft gameplay, I mean, just look at the clips that I'm showing right now on the screen or whatever. It's I can't. It's just so wooden. It's so slow. Take just for instance rage generation, or how mana was important. I was I can just mention I had played a druid ever since vanilla. I have never considered changing a main. I'm a druid hardcore fan. I play feral since the first day of Burning Crusade, when I tanked my first 5-man. I never looked back. Tanking in World of Warcraft is fantastic. But anyways, back in vanilla, I was playing a Resto Druid, obviously forced to do that because there was no real, if you're playing a Druid, a healer class, whatever, you're gonna be healing, and there's no real, incentive for a raid to kind of bring along a Feral Druid or Retribution Paladin. Shadow Priestess were okay because they had that healing thing with the groups and like mind control or whatever. That was a few things there. But if you're playing a druid or whatever, you're basically just being really careful with your mana, not really spamming all your spells, doing a few ranks. I had 3 ranks of healing touch, and it's just so boring conserving your mana. It feels wooden. Even on a healer, you have to be so conservative with your mana spending. It's the same thing for all other classes, where the gameplay is just so slow and it feels so outdated, and then you're using only like 10 keybinds or something. Currently in BFA, as a Feral Druid or Guardian Druid or Resto Druid, whatever, I have 25 keybinds, and that's just playing, normal PVM stuff. No real high-end anymore for me. I'm not really raiding her for like many years now. I actually stopped raiding in Cataclysm. I could mention just a real fast thing here. My raiding thing back in Cataclysm, that was actually a top 100 world kill where I stopped. I just didn't really, raiding lost every incentive to kind of continue doing that, just because raiding felt kind of pointless back then. So I stopped raiding back then. But yeah, I was raiding a lot for all my years in World of Warcraft. Always kind of active on that front. But anyway, the gameplay in vanilla WoW, it's funny how everyone just says that Battle for Azeroth is totally a crap expansion. Mostly just because we don't have artifact weapons and we lost abilities and global cooldowns are way longer. And then you look at a game like Final Fantasy. Everyone says that, oh, Final Fantasy, the first 60 levels when you're leveling is so slow because of the global cooldown. It's so shit, and oh my god, who can play that? And then people are like, oh my god, vanilla World of Warcraft, yay, auto attack. I'm gonna do like 30, 40%, maybe 50% of my damage just auto attacks with slice and dice, or auto attacks to get the regen when I'm playing with Furry Warrior or whatever. Like, I can't take that shit seriously. The gameplay sucks in vanilla World of Warcraft. It just does. Granted, I only played a Frost Mage and my Druid back then, so maybe my memories are a little twisted. I will give you that. Maybe some classes were more fun than a Mage or Resto Druid or Feral Druid. I actually did get some pretty good Feral gear back in vanilla, just because a lot of the AQ40 drops, a lot of the rogues don't want that, and I just get it because I'm always raiding, we had like 3-4 druids back then on the main roster, and I was always one of those who were lucky enough to get a good feral gear. So at the end of vanilla, I actually had pretty good gear for feral, but even then, the gameplay was just so shit for feral druid. It was so slow, and I was doing like, I don't know, I was getting enough rage to do on my ul every like 8-10 seconds or whatever. The regen, the rage generation was so slow. At least I hope, warriors were way better. They probably were, but yeah, it's just so slow. And then everyone is saying, okay, that's pretty much the gameplay, point. Because everyone, again, they complain about gameplay in Battle for Azeroth, and they think it's so slow and it's so ruined and it's totally crap. But then they still accept something like Final Fantasy. And if you haven't played Final Fantasy, that game is mother effing slow. The first time you engage with a mob and you click your first little ability at level 2 or 5 or whatever, you're just gonna be mind-blowingly, what? how can anyone even consider this? And that's the same thing vanilla. You're gonna have the same reaction. At least that's what I feel whenever I went on a private server, or when I went back to the first beta that I had some months ago, or whatever. It's just too slow for me, and there's no keybinds to spend, there's no abilities, it's just all very boring. Yeah, I don't think people are gonna accept losing all the abilities they're accustomed to in 2019 WoW, or 2010 WoW, or even 2008-7 WoW when Burning Crusade was launched, because we did get some new stuff in that expansion as well that really changed up a lot of classes. But yeah, that's pretty much the first point. And now the second point here is time investment. You have to look at what year we're in right now. We're in 2019, right? And what does the 2019 gamer do? He plays 20 minutes of Fortnite rounds and that's it. He can't fit in 5 hours a day. So I'm just gonna tell you my schedule when I was raiding hardcore in vanilla World of Warcraft. We were doing all the raids and we were always preparing. And as a resto druid, I didn't really have good farming classes or whatever. So it already starts at I get home from school at 2 o'clock, so that's 14:00 for Europeans or whatever. I'm European myself, probably hear that in my voice. Anyway, yeah, you get home, maybe I grab something fast to eat, just kind of I just want to get something. And then I instantly go to Ungora Crater and I kill Devil Sour Raptors because I can skin the leather to make Devil Sour gear. And then I sell those 2 items, the Devil Sour leggings or the Devil Sour gloves for 25, maybe 50 gold if I'm really lucky. So that day, all my thought process until dinner time is just, I have to make 40 gold right now and I cannot wait any longer. So fucking do it, go to Ungora Crater. And that was the same mindset I think a lot of people back had then. If they couldn't make that 40 gold a day, it was really tough to raid. Because the repairs were gonna be maybe 25, 30 gold. Then you also had a flask that was I don't know, could that be 10 or 20 gold? I don't really remember the auction house prices right now. So a regular raid day with consumables and repairs and all that shit, it could at least be 50 to maybe 100 gold per night. Maybe not 100 gold, and only if you're really 1% raider that was really extreme. But it takes a lot of time just preparing for the raid night. And then the raid night comes and you're always sat on my computer for 2 hours grinding. But okay, fuck this, I'll just eat fast and maybe just skip dinner because I don't want to eat my family, because who has time for that? Okay, so then the dinner's done and I'm probably eating at a desk or whatever. So we get on the raid and it's 9 o'clock, and then we have to spend half an hour inviting and getting people there, and it's so slow, no summons, mages have to make food, and it's already 9:35 or something like that before we made the first pull. Okay, so now we are just pulling, wiping, and it's you have to be really efficient, and the rage and the trash mobs are gonna respawn and you have to waste your time with that crap, and yeah, suddenly you only done 8 pulls on the boss and it's over. And that's pretty much the raid day. So I spent 6-7 hours in front of my computer playing World of Warcraft that day. And I'm gonna do it the next day as well. And do you think a 2019 gamer is gonna accept that gameplay? Fuck no. Most raiders nowadays in a casual guild where they raid 2 times a week, maybe once only, and that's it. They're not gonna accept logging on farming 2 hours a day for gold and then some other bullshit that they might also have to do in between the gold shit. And then they have to, rush through dinner and all that shit and then spend 5 hours wiping. Well, wiping is not, so much word, because you only get 8-10 pulls a night because of all the trash respawns or whatever. So yeah, I don't really think that is kind of acceptable in 2019. People are into Fortnite and they just play 35 minutes on their tablet or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are still a lot of people who would accept spending 7 hours a day. And I do mean 7 hours a day. I mean, I could tell that people who were on the casual side of the guild who only log in for the raid, maybe they only raid like 1 or 2 times a week in the raid, they were never going to be part of the core roster of the team. They were just kind of like there to fill up the 40-man raid. Those of us who were logged on during the day, before the raids, grinding, preparing, whatever, we were the good players. We were the ones who were, actually gonna push the raid forward. That's just the reality. And even I could see that as a little kid, where I knew that if I just, time equals gear, time equals effort, something like that. It didn't matter if I was a good player, because, spoiler, I was a fucking terrible player. I was clicking every ability, didn't use any macros, probably didn't even know my class properly, something like that. And still, just because I invested that time and I did that grind, I was part of the radar every single week, and which I shouldn't have been looking back. But that's the problem. Vanilla WoW, it was never hard. It was never fucking hard. It was just all about time investment. And I think that's gonna be my second point, because then we can move on to the third point here. So I talked a little about raids and kind of like how you become a part of the roster back then. So my third point here is about spoilers. Right now, and I bet my ass right now when I'm saying this, there are gonna be add-on developers right now coding up a new add-on for vanilla World of Warcraft that's gonna change up some way you can play the game way more easily, and there's gonna be like guides and tutorials and all that shit being made as I'm speaking right now. There's gonna be so much spoilers, there's gonna be nothing to explore, there's gonna be nothing to conquer, there's gonna be nothing to smell. Everything as soon as the live service, the service goes live, everything is just gonna be mapped ahead of you. You know exactly what's gonna happen at every single level. Maybe not like down to the detail as it is right now in BFA, current WoW, but it's at least gonna be very easy for you to kind of know what's gonna happen. And that's kind of what I mean with there's gonna be spoilers everywhere. There's gonna be nothing to explore. Again, maybe for people who have never played vanilla World of Warcraft, they might see it differently, but I don't. Because when I played on a private server, I don't know, 2 years ago or whatever, I don't know, I was already running with 15 add-ons and just kinda is this really vanilla WoW? Is this really fucking what people are gonna spend that much time on? Oh yeah, I actually forgot to talk about this in my second point in terms of time investment. Just the leveling part alone is gonna be 250 hours. Actually, let me just check that real fast. I will also compare to what I spent it back then. Just gonna, sorry for the little, just gonna be sure about that. Yeah, so it's gonna be like 8, maybe for the real fast people, to 10, 12, 14, maybe 20 days for the really slow levelers who are taking their time. Spoilers, most people who are playing the first character in vanilla World of Warcraft back then, they were all about 20 days before their first level 60 character. Mine was 24 days. And I think that's gonna be, not completely... okay, maybe it's not gonna be that slow any longer, but again, of all the fucking spoilers, vanilla World of Warcraft was just so slow in that sense that it was just all about a time investment. It was not because it was hard to level. Bullshit, it was never hard to level. You know every single quest anyways. You know what zones to go for. Like, let's just take humans. Okay, that's maybe easy just because I play Alliance, but like, okay, you level 2, level 6, then you go to Goldshire, then you do the Cobalt Mines, then you do like the west and east past on Elven Forest. The Murlocs are a bit annoying, sure, then you go to Westfall, then you go to Red Ridge Mountain, North Red Ridge Mountain, kinda do that insane elite quest up at the Red Ridge Mountain, which is not even needed anyways. You could just skip that part if you never could do the elite quest. That was always a fun challenge to do. However, I will admit, such quests don't, they don't really. Yeah, I will give you that those quests in Red Ridge Mountain with the elite quest and killing all the orcs in the castle, that was pretty hard. But then you go to Duskwood, and then you do the first little quest around it, kill all the wolves out in the open area, then you go to the cemetery and the Orca caves, and then you go to Stranglehold Vale, do the first little quest up at the north camp or the south camp or whatever, and then you kind of just progress down to Stranglehold Vale. Then the game opens up a little bit. You can kind of go to a few different zones, but like I already explained you what you're gonna be doing for the first maybe 100 to 150 hours when you play vanilla World of Warcraft. It's just that there's no real exploring. And again, all the add-ons, all the knowledge, all the people who are gonna tell you what to do, it's just gonna be there right for your taking, and you're gonna absorb it. If you don't, you're just gonna be falling behind, and you're gonna be efficient, and it's gonna take way longer than the person next to you. And that's the 2019 gamer. We want to be efficient, we want to get shit done, and we don't want to waste our time. At least that's how I play World of Warcraft. Maybe that's a sickness, and maybe I should just stop playing games in general if that's my mindset. But yeah, that's just how it is for me, at least. So I think that's pretty much the third point. I could maybe mention something like the raids also being way too easy. I think all the raids are just gonna be instant killed, and it's not gonna be a challenge at all. Cause wow, the raids, mythic raids since like, when did Blizzard get too stupid with the raid mechanics? And it's like reading a book before you understand it. It already kind of started end of Burning Crusade. Like Sunwell raids were pretty insane with mechanics. A few other bosses before Sunwell was also insane. But like nowadays, a mythic raid boss, ever since like Mr. Pandaria at least, the mechanics has gotten so fucking out of hand that you can never understand a fight if you don't read the tactics beforehand, and you at least get a grasp from sources outside from the game, which is obviously a mistake. But there's also comes like this balancing point where the raids are too easy in vanilla. There's like 3 mechanics to a boss. Don't stand in bad. Maybe do something with some ads, and then I don't know, the boss has a transition phase of like 20% where he enrages. That's pretty much the bosses in vanilla. Obviously, a few of them require some things where, like, I don't know, 5 people have to do something right, and that's it. It's just, yeah, I don't understand the whole raiding thing. Obviously, I think most people would not play vanilla World of Warcraft for the raids. They would just kind of do it for the experience, the journey, whatever. So that's a fair point as well with the whole spoiler thing. They can maybe set their own pace, find their own story, all that shit. So that's okay, I can restrict that, but I still want to do this third point here with the whole spoilers, add-ons, everything is just gonna ruin it. And now for the outro here. So I've been pretty negative, but I will also say that this is obviously a growth potential for Blizzard, cause holy shit man, I'm starting to fear for Blizzard's well-being. Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I would think that Blizzard in 2020 would be so big that there would be no real competition in that space where they are kind of segmented into. But I mean, they are below 30 million players. There's probably mobile apps that are being made right now that has more players in like, I don't know, half a year. 30 million players active across all platforms, all games they have. It's not a lot. That's just kind of wow. So yeah, I actually hope that vanilla World of Warcraft will obviously do very well and it's gonna be popular, and all what I'm gonna say is just gonna be dislike it to hate and whatever. Because honestly, it would be great if the community grew so much that they could at least get some cash out of it. But this is also another thing I fear. Will people accept paying a full subscription price plus buying the base game, which I guess you have to do to access vanilla? I'm not really sure how that works. But let's just say you only have to pay the subscription. A lot of people who have maybe quit WoW like 8-10 years ago, or only wants to play vanilla World of Warcraft or whatever, will they accept paying as much as a Netflix fee? About as much as a Netflix fee just to play the game that is already gonna take up a lot of the time and so forth. I talk to a lot of players or a lot of people around me, or well, not a lot, who we're kidding, a few, yeah. And they always mention, well, World of Warcraft, there you have to pay the subscription fee, and it's too expensive and so forth. And that's kind of true, because a lot of games nowadays, they're free to play with optional microtransactions, which people obviously then forget about, and then they go buy like 3 games a month, and they spend way more money than I have ever done in World of Warcraft. But still, they have that mindset where the transition into the game, getting it, acquiring it, having to pay that subscription fee, that is not a thing they want to do, just because they see this as a gigantic paywall where they're looking over like a fence trying to climb over it, and oh my god, it's impossible. But it's actually not. I like the subscription fee, especially since gold tokens. Oh yeah, playing World of Warcraft for free for like 3-4 years now or whatever, it's great. But this subscription fee, I don't think it's gonna work out in the long term for vanilla server. I just don't think that. I don't think there's gonna be enough content, enough incentive for people to keep paying with subscription. But that's just my thoughts. I know, and 2019, 2018, 2017, whatever, when free to play games, they took over and just dominates the market now so heavily, it's not even funny. Because I'm kind of more into buying a game, and that's it. I don't want to pay for DLCs or whatever. That's just kind of my thoughts. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about if I had to choose something else vanilla, I would rather get for TBC or Wrath of Lich King. For me, Burning Crusade was probably the best time in World of Warcraft for me. I had some problems with raiding and guilds. My vanilla guild fell apart because the server population died out because of the stupid hordes took over the server population, whatever. That was when Blizzard introduced also the migration to other factions and whatnot. But anywho, even though my rating kind of took a dive in that expansion, and I don't know, it was a lot of things, I guess. It was still the greatest fucking time in World of Warcraft for me. It was so good. I was playing my Feral Druid. I was doing a lot of PvP back then. I was like 2k rated Resto Druid with 2v2 rating, just 2v2. But like everything was just so fucking good in Burning Crusade. Even like Retribution Paladins were really good as well for DPS. Feral Druids were okay. We were great tanks, however. It was like everything was just it worked so well in Burning Crusade. We also got these kind of game systems that a lot of people now take for granted. Dailies, we got longer, good, like, story quest chains that kind of fits the zone together. We kind of just got like more fleshed out systems, and that's kind of what I think that vanilla World of Warcraft misses. I also want to mention a little about something that's just so stupid, like quality of life. AoE looting. Are you gonna accept looting 8 corpses in vanilla instead of just clicking once and then move on? That's such a... I know a lot of people talk about, if we're gonna have AoE looting in vanilla World of Warcraft, then it's gonna be like RIP. Frostmage is gonna be the best grinders for gold in vanilla World of Warcraft, because they just go to BRD and farm. Yeah, but let them be the best grinders then, just because of AoE looting. That's fine. Quality of life just got so much better in the next expansion past vanilla. I just don't think I can live with outdated game systems that takes away my time, fully knowing that it could easily be fixed with other systems that can just wrap up things and make it that much better for me when I'm playing casually, not really wanting to engage with annoying hindrance. It's like, say if when Blizzard tomorrow made dazing a thing even when you're not mounted, would that be a fun thing? Would that be fun to be slowed down in your gameplay with daze? No, it wouldn't. And it's the same thing, we're not having these AoE looting and other things that we got later on in the expansions in WoW. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my points. Again, sorry for the length. This is a 500 days played World of Warcraft nerd that gives his 2 cents on an expansion that he actually played. Because I see a lot of people, they make their opinions, they say a lot of shit, but have you actually played vanilla back then? Did you actually raid? Did you just enter Sul'Gurub and that was it? I actually did all that shit. I grinded a lot of rep back then as well. I was so fucking active and did all that stupid no life shit. So I really, I just don't get the hype, the whole woo. Oh my god, we finally got it, boys, and all that shit. I mean, of course, if you never played vanilla WoW and you are so looking forward to that experience, go for it, enjoy it. Maybe you will also have that amazing feel when you first walk up to Stormwind Gates and you saw in Elven Forest just how damn big everything was. Maybe you will have that, addictive feeling as I had, because like, wow, you shouldn't even be playing World of Warcraft at my age. It was so addictive. It was like, it was getting fucking heroin drops, or I don't know, whatever, meth, whatever, drugs, it's very addictive. And maybe you will kind of get sucked into that world again if you never played vanilla WoW. But I just don't. No, I don't see the continued success for vanilla WoW for all the things that I mentioned now in this too long video. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and have a good one.